Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Go Bat Like video. Today I'm going to be showcasing a triple breaking swipe team, which is a completely unoriginal idea apparently because Toast just uploaded a video with triple breaking swipe. So of course, whenever I was putting these clips together, I was having a look for YouTube, like, oh, what's being uploaded today? What should I try to avoid? That's kind of what I do. I don't like to upload the same stuff as other people. And I just so happened to notice that Callum uploaded triple breaking swipe. So pretty unfortunate, but at least we're using different Pokemon, which is a good thing. In this team, we're running it like an ABB style team, with Haxorus in the lead, which is kind of here to like deal with Medicham, right? Like, you don't really have a good answer to Medicham in this team. Haxorus is about as good as it gets. And we have Steelix as the safe swap, with Breaking Swipe and Heavy Slam. I probably would just run this with Psychic Fangs, Crunch, or Earthquake. It's pretty hard to get to even Heavy Slam, so I don't think Earthquake quite works in the Great League. I think you definitely go Psychic Fangs in my personal opinion. Generally though, I realize that Haxorus is quite weak to Ice, and of course the whole team is pretty weak to Carbink, except for the fact that Steelix resists the Rock Throws. Not having a good move to throw against it kind of makes it a very long and drawn out awkward match, so I wanted to have some sort of move that can hit Ice types and Carbink, so Heavy Slam seemed to fit the bill there. I'm running Heliolisk in the back, which is the closer in this team, which honestly it done super well. Heliolisk is such a unique Pokemon. It's got a normal electric typing. This thing absolutely walls Noctowl, and as you guys see here, it's coming in and it's just going to absolutely farm down this bulky Mantine. I'm not even going to give them a chance to earliest me or ice beam me or get off a bubble beam. I think the opponent's going to see the writing on the wall here. Heliolisk going for the farm down, and we love a good first game first win with the triple breaking swipe team. Yeah, Heliolisk was pretty fun actually. Would I recommend this team if you're trying to hit Legend? Not necessarily. So that leads me into a question I want to ask you guys. I done a community poll on this topic, and a lot of people seem to say meta, but generally speaking, would you like to see me upload meta content, like best teams, some teams that I think will be useful for climbing, or like some of the best buff Pokemon, right? Or do you guys want to see some spicy battles in the early ranks? I see some sort of mixed feedback. Most people wanted to see meta and things that were buffed, and very few people wanted to see spice. To be fair, I run some spice today. I run Ninetales with Scorching Sands, which was pretty fun. Like, I beat a Lantern with Dragonair and Dragonite. It was like, I like running a spicy Pokemon, but while I was playing the team, I'm like, bro, this is just nonsense. Like, nobody's gonna run this team. And like, I feel like, for YouTube videos, and for me personally as well, whenever I'm watching a video, I like to see stuff that I might be interested in using. I don't think people are necessarily going to use Scorching Sands Ninetales with Double Dragon. It was a pretty fun team, and we actually beat a Lantern with Scorching Sands, which was pretty fun. So I might make a YouTube short out of that. But do let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. Once again guys, big thank you for all the support on the videos, and if you haven't already, hit that like button and subscribe. It is absolutely free, and helps out the channel a ton here. So we're going to shield up this Heliolisk. Registeel could of course one-shot us with Focus Blast. I'm going to look to go for the breaking swipe bait here, because I feel like the opponent's pretty much forced to shield. The opponent's win conditions to call a bait, and they do actually call the bait, or maybe they're just letting it go at this point. I think they were getting fairly close to the move. I didn't want to risk it, so I just threw off the next move. And at this point, we can just come back in with Haxorus. What I actually do is farm up to the breaking swipe, come in with Haxorus, look to build up to the move, and basically I've got the opponent in checkmate here. If they throw the Brave Bird, they take out my Haxorus, but I can just take them out with one Volt Switch, and of course the wing attacks are resisted, so there's never any chance that they're going to take us out there. So I just put them in a really tough spot, banking the move. I'm forcing them to throw the move because breaking swipe will get the shield. So good games well played, and hopping into the next match we have Umbreon. In this match right here I was tempted to throw an alignment because we can guarantee the debuff, and that would mean that I don't really have to shield this thing. This is an ABP style team, right, so we need this thing to take care of any other steel types or whatever. Heliolisk can deal with things like Reggie as you've seen, but generally this is what you want to deal with them with. I go for the breaking swipe here, and then I'm going to commit to the farm down with Heliolisk. Maybe I could have just went for the full farm down, but I was thinking they were going to start throwing Sky attacks, which of course would start adding up, and you guys are about to see here that the opponent is not aware of the subtyping of normal. Shadow Ball double resisted, and we're going to commit to the entire farm down here. The opponent does get to another move. They could have got to 2 Sky attacks, so I was thinking like I want to debuff them, not take 2 Sky attacks, because even though resisted, this thing is pretty glassy, right? So you're seeing here we're in the yellow, even though they threw 2 resisted Shadow Balls, double resisted Shadow Balls. Back in comes Umbreon. We're going to throw after 1. The best timing you can do on these things is 2, but I just wanted to get this debuff applied as soon as possible. The opponent swaps straight out, and in comes a Venusaur. This opponent does not have an answer for any of these breaking swipers. Breaking swipe is just ripping for this team. We're going to throw this next one out immediately. Insta-throwing Andy here, applying as many debuffs as possible. This Venusaur is going to be triple debuffed by the time it sees anything. We're getting off yet another move on CMP, and the opponent's just in an absolute shambles. Does this move even take out at this point? This thing is pretty glassy, and of course Frenzy Plant's an amazing move. But we're going to get taken out here, and at this point it's just curtains for the opponent. And we have a shield up here. We come in with Steelix. We're just going to break and swipe it once more. We're literally just breaking swiping everything. Sometimes I fell in love with the breaking swipe a little bit too much, or maybe I could have thrown a better move. The opponent comes back in with Umbreon. This is pretty trivial at this point. We're going to come in here with this thing and look to counter it down. The opponent does not get off a last second move, and we're going to look to basically eat the Frenzy Plant on this. I don't really care, you can Frenzy Plant me if you want to, bro. There's not really that much you can do against Steelix. The opponent instantly top left, and that's a good game well played. I think sometimes in those situations, the opponents just want to take out at least one of your Pokemon. We get an amazing lead in this next match, Obstagoon. The opponent swaps straight out to Beedrill. Now, I could instantly swap out, but I'm thinking I can get a debuff or a shield here, and then look to come in with Steelix and just try to farm it the whole way down. We do get a shield off the opponent, and we're going to look to come in and try to commit to some moves here. I realize that this thing is on Drill Run. I don't really want to come into this thing with Heliolisk because it is quite glassy, so I felt like I want to try and debuff it first and just make this super comfortable for Steelix, just so they're not getting off a ton of drill runs. At this point, I can actually eat a drill run because they're like double or triple debuffed here, but I do want to keep some health on this Pokemon because I think that I can get off, like I said, multiple debuffs on whatever comes back in. We can even up the shielding scenario, and yeah, back in comes Obstagoon. Obstagoon will commit to the farm down, and at this point they're just going to be so debuffed that their moves will not be doing enough damage. They're going to throw a move off because they do not want to get debuffed again, and the opponent's in for a nasty surprise. They think they're going to get rid of one of our debuffers here. Night Slash doesn't even take us out, and we just about don't get that move off, and we come back in with this thing. The opponent's going to throw a last second move. I'm happy enough to invest a shield here at this point because I'd rather keep two options for the back Pokemon. We don't know what it's going to be yet, and the opponent's going to show us here quite shortly. It is Toxapex. I could have went for the Earthquake, but why would you go for Earthquake when you can throw a million breaking swipes? We're going to just basically apply several debuffs on this thing. Do we get this move off? We just about do. I was going to swap out, but I thought that I would definitely get to this move. I definitely would have got to an Earthquake as well, but then Toxapex could have maybe looked to one-shot this thing. So I'm just trying to play it safe. The opponent may have shielded the Earthquake, and then I was in a very awkward position where they're heading energy, they've got me farmed down. I think it was just a little bit safer going for breaking swipes. We could go for another breaking swipe, but we're just going to get rid of them this time with the Thunderbolt. This thing hits like an absolute truck from full health. That would be doing a lot of damage as well, and good games well played. Like I said, Heliolisk was so much fun to sweep with in the back, and I think it could be like a niche little Pokemon, especially for limited metas. Unfortunately, we have the Electric Cup this season, and Heliolisk is banned. So it's like, bro, you're buffing this Pokemon, but you're going to ban it? Like, what's the point? We have a match against Golisopod, and this thing is super glassy. This thing got double buffed this season with Exeter and Aurelius, and in comes Frostlass here. I should be swapping out of here probably a little bit sooner, but I'm looking to apply debuff on this thing and look to swap in. Because we're not running cheap charge moves, we're running Heavy Slam, and of course Breaking Swipe. This is a little bit awkward. You're going to see that a debuffed Avalanche does quite a lot of damage, and of course a debuffed Shadow Ball does a lot of damage too. We're going to commit to the Heavy Slam here. The opponent's going to get off a last second move. Now at this point, I don't think a Breaking Swipe is going to take them out, so I'm going to throw after one here for good timing, and look to take them out with Heavy Slam. The opponent will most likely think this is just another debuff, but we do take them out with that move, and they probably thought it could be a crunch. Now unfortunately, the Registeel is going to farm us down. I don't have a very good IV Steelix here, but we do apply debuff as usual, and hopefully we can look to take this game. I need to get for a lot of counter damage here, and the opponent is going to get off a move. Now I don't want to leave this all on the shoulders of Heliolisk, because I know that I can get off a lot of counter damage. Back in comes the Golisopod. We're going to fire this move immediately. If they shield, we're going to swap out and look to apply heavy damage onto the Registeel. We're going to farm this thing the whole way down till they get to the move. They just about do. This should be an Aurelius, or is it going to be a Liquidation? It is the Liquidation, which does a lot of damage. We get the defense drop as well, but we're going to go for the Thunderbolt. And you guys are about to see the Thunderbolt is not to be messed around with. That almost takes them out. Can we get off another breaking swipe? Oh, we were just at the breaking swipe. And this is going to be looking very, very close. Our Haxorus has got such low health. Can we counter this down in time? The opponent was within one counter of KO, and that's a very good game well played to the opponent. Very, very tricky, and it got very, very close in the end. Hopping into this next match, we have Drifloon lead. Pretty negative, so we're going to swap straight into Steelix on this occasion. Of course, our hard answer being the Heliolisk. We try to immediately get off the debuff. The opponent does outpace us, unfortunately. Now, they throw Icy Wind here. Good thing it wasn't Mystical Fire, because that definitely would have put a big chunk into us. And in this situation, this is where you would prefer Psychic Fangs, or of course Earthquake on Steelix. But like I said, I wanted that extra coverage for Carbink. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I did not see any, and I didn't see an absolute ton of ice types in Steelix. But as per usual, we're going to just get this thing super, super low. We do invest in early shield in this matchup to, of course, lower their attack before having to eat any skulls or anything like that. We just want to make sure this match is comfortable. They can't farm us down with Poison Jab, and at this point we can definitely eat a Scald. They've been double or triple debuffed here, Scald coming through. It's doing very little damage now at this point, and we're going to throw after free for good timing. Sometimes I do like to throw on bad timing to try and get off the move immediately, In this case, we were pretty safe to go for that. Back in comes Drifloon. We're going to try to apply the debuff on this thing before coming into Heliolisk. Like I said, Heliolisk is quite glassy, and this team is actually pretty cool and fun because these are pretty glassy Pokemon in the front and back, but these debuffs are making them feel a lot bulkier, right? Because you're debuffing stuff as you leave. That's kind of like why I always like trying to take switch advantage, because you can apply the debuff before you leave, and then the next Pokemon comes in and they've just got a lowered attack, right? So it makes your Pokemon feel a lot bulkier than it actually is. I'm going to shield up this move. This is a bad shield, to be fair. And in comes, I thought this was Carbink, but this was actually Diancie. I was not expecting to see Diancie. I do fire off this debuff because I'm realizing that this thing is way less bulky than Carbink. As you can see, that actually puts a decent little chip into them. All I have to do here is probably just come in with Heliolisk and go for a couple of breaking swipes, and that should be enough to take this game here. We're going to throw here after one, try to get this debuff off immediately, and I don't think they're going to pace to the move. They pace to the moves equally to Carbink, and at this point, this breaking swipe's going to take them out. Maybe it'll be a fun team to use Diancie and Carbink. Maybe it's a little bit too toxic, but you guys can let me know. I could go for that team for sure. We farmed this down in 1 Volt Switch, and that's a good game well played. Of course, these games you're watching are early ranks, but the teams did actually work pretty well. In comes Sableye. I don't really have an amazing answer for this. I think probably my best answer might be Heliolisk, because of course you resist the Shadow Claw. All of our Pokemon can deal with this thing, so we debuff it and we dip out. That's kind of the normal strat here. The opponent's throwing a debuff foul play, so I'm pretty happy to eat this here, so I know that's not going to come back in later in the match. Now in comes a Gradient. This thing is an absolute spam machine. They get to body slams after 4 mud shots and crunches in 5. It is probably the spammiest Pokemon in the game, and it actually can do really well against things like Registeel now. Just because of how spammy it is, all of the mud shots adding up, it's a pretty annoying Pokemon to deal with. However, it doesn't have a high attack, and we can apply these debuffs a lot faster than Registeel can, so we're looking to be in a good position here. Did we lose CMP to that thing? I didn't think we could lose CMP to this, but that's a thing apparently. Maybe that's just my lack of knowledge about Steelix. I thought Steelix would have had a fairly high attack, but there you go. We're going to pretty much take this thing out. Back in comes Sableye. We're going to come in here with the Heliolisk and try to go for the farm down. Now this foul play will do a lot of damage, so I'm happy to shield up once and commit to the farm down here at this point. The opponent does get off a last second foul play, and we're actually going to double shield this Pokemon because, as you guys have seen, these are going to be probably the hardest hitting moves left in the game. In comes Lantern at this point, and this is still looking really tricky. I double shielded this thing because I felt like these are the hardest hitting moves left in the game. We go for another breaking swipe, right? So I'm thinking like, okay, I can get this last Pokemon super debuffed, and those Sableye moves will have been the hardest hitting moves. Unfortunately though, the opponent still has a way to clear their debuff, so maybe I could have considered not shielding one of those foul plays, but I think that would have put me in a super low health range where I was just in a very tough spot here no matter what. I think at this point I should consider swapping out, but I do tend to throw another move. I think I should come in at this point to allow myself to get ahead in energy with Haxorus. What I'm deciding to do is let them throw the move and try to basically, clear their energy, and then come into Haxorus right here. We come in for the farm down. The opponent does get to a last second move on Gradient. This thing is so spammy. That body slam almost takes us out. The opponent does get another move on Lantern. Even though debuff, they're still getting to these moves in time, and boom, that takes us out. Now this is a really tricky position. We've got 2 low health Pokemon. We can't get it done with Heliolisk. We can't get it done with Steelix, and the opponent just farms down the remainder of our team. You're seeing right there, that's why 2-turn moves are a lot better than 3- and 4-turn moves, because you can apply that damage a lot faster. Unfortunate. I thought I could survive one spark, one resisted spark on Heliolisk. Unfortunately, I could not. So in comes Walrein. This is, like I said, a little bit tricky. I go straight for the debuff here to force the opponent to fire a debuffed move, or of course swap out. In comes Chestnut, which is a pretty good counter for Steelix. Once again, Psychic Fangs would be much preferred in this situation because of the fighting type. So maybe in the future, if you're running a team like this, where you don't really have a great answer to fighters, maybe this would be a little bit better than, of course, the other move, Heavy Slam. I think I only got off 2 Heavy Slams the entire time I played, but of course, the one time you need Heavy Slam or something, you will probably wish you had it. We're going to come in here and commit to the farm down with Haxorus. I realize the opponent's going to get to a superpower, so I CMP the opponent on 1 HP, and unfortunately, yeah, we just can't quite get that counter down. But in comes Whimsi-core. This is looking super tricky. I get straight out of here because they're doing super effective damage, and I'm going to probably respect this first move. Like I said, we can look to shield up the first moves, and the remaining moves will be less damage because, of course, the debuffs. Now in comes Walrein. They look to CMP us here, and this Thunderbolt will take them out. The opponent probably thought it was another breaking swipe, and back in comes this thing. We're going to apply as many debuffs to this as possible. That's my only win condition here at this point. Every single move left in the game is resisted by Whimsi-core. This thing is such a core breaker. The opponent's getting off a last move. But I do think here that Heliolisk is my win condition, so what I'm going to like to do is apply one more debuff. I'm going to come into Haxorus here to force the opponent to throw energy on it, and try to, like I said, get off another breaking swipe. Can we get to the move in time? I think that was a CMP tie on the breaking swipe. That is absolutely perfect here in this situation. We're getting them super low. This whimsi-core is capable of beating both of these Pokemon individually, but together with all of these debuffs, it's looking a little bit tricky. Can we get to this move? We do get to the move. Volt Switch is amazing for energy generation and of course damage, and even though these are all resisted, we actually do manage to take out the whimsi-core. Very tricky Pokemon, but very good games well played. Nidoqueen, a little bit awkward here. I stay in here for a minute to apply a Breaking Swipe, and then I'm most likely going to dip out into Steelix. I'm expecting Insta for Andy here, so we're going to do an Insta swap into our Steelix here, which of course will be resisted damage. We get the attack drop, of course, and the opponent will be pretty much forced to swap out. That does so little damage, but in comes Medicham. This is again where you might want like a heavy hitting move, but my plan here is basically to debuff the crap out of this thing, maybe land a heavy slam if possible, see what the opponent wants to do, go for a farm down. They do end up throwing energy here, which is perfectly fine by me. They probably don't want to get debuffed into oblivion. We're going to commit to this heavy slam. This will do heavy damage and put them in a range where we can hopefully look to counter it down with Haxorus. Boom, that comes through, does a lot of damage, and at this point, we pretty much have to commit to the shield and farm down here. We don't really want to see this thing on Heliolisk. Heliolisk just gets destroyed by this thing, so we have to commit to this counter down. And again, we can take this energy into the next matchup and hopefully try to put it to good use, right? They do have Nidoqueen still, and they still have 2 shields, so this is looking extremely tough no matter what. Maybe I could have tried to let that go. I'm thinking I might be able to get off 2 moves on this, which might put me in a position to win this game, but this is looking very, very tough. We don't get to the move, unfortunately, and at this point, we're having to try and commit to a farm down with Heliolisk. The opponent could just go straight for an Earth Power here, but yeah, they do end up going for the debuff. In comes Lickitung, and I think I do see the writing on the wall here, and hit the top left button. Good games well played to the opponent. Nidoqueen was just a little bit awkward, especially, you know, Pokemon that can debuff your defense when you're using a super glassy team like this is definitely very, very tricky to deal with. I seen the writing on the wall at this point, and after this breaking swipe, I do top left. But that's the triple breaking swipe team, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe, and let me know in the comments down below. Do you want me to upload more meta teams, or do you want me to focus on Spice or newly buffed Pokemon? I'm definitely interested to hear your thoughts below. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and catch you all next time.